everyone. Welcome back to SatsOverCents. I am Varun, and today we are diving into the fascinating topic, the idea of Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset and the buzz about a proposal for the US to own a million Bitcoin by 2030. We'll explore what this means and why it matters, and then AJ is going to take us through the do we see Bitcoin in the next couple of months.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. Let's talk about Bitcoin and its price for the last week. I mean, what a week last week was, right? I mean, for the first time, I think Bitcoin crossed 90K last week, I think it was. Significant volatility. It's been up and down. It made a new all-time high of 93,265 here on my charts. I'll share my screen in a minute. But as Warren was saying, the market sentiment has been really, really bullish on crypto since President Trump was elected because he's been perceived as a favorable candidate for cryptocurrencies, contributing to this, increased optimism amongst investors, right? So yeah, let's dive into this and let's see where the price might take us. Before I share my screen, I also want to highlight the fact that 100,000 is a big, big, big psychological resistance. And what that really means is at a price of $100,000 for one Bitcoin, there'll be a lot of people sitting on bags of Bitcoin who would have had their psychological target of $100,000. So you will see, I'm expecting to see a sort of a sell-off when it reaches $100,000. So you will see that the price will be ping-ponging up and down quite a lot, and will be trading near the $100,000 price mark, simply because there'll be a lot of sellers. At the same time, people who are long-term investors, there will be some buyers. But I do see a higher selling pressure versus a buying pressure. So yeah, that's just to keep in back of your head. If you see the price reaching 100,000 in the next week, expecting a sell-off. And if we don't, then we don't. But, hey, we're not predicting here. We don't have a crystal ball. We're just doing, some analysis to see where the price could go in the near future. So without further ado, let me quickly share my screen here, and then we talk about the charts. Okay, so I hope you all can see it. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This is the daily chart of Bitcoin. Okay, just follow along my mouse, which I'm sure you can see now. And then we'll take it from there. So before we get into the daily ones, I always like to start at the monthly chart. So look at that November candle. Okay, first peak, this was back in 2021. Second peak, this was also in 2021. And then, as we know, the price, just went one direction. And then since December of December of 2022, the price is only going in one direction, which is, up. And this was the third peak. This was created in the month of March this year. And then, of course, I'm just going to hide my drawings here. You guys can see. So yeah, and then in August of this year is when it really came down to this level, to retest that level, which was a $49,000 level. And then ever since, it's just looking up, up, and up. So before I get into my deep into my analysis of the price, I just wanted to quickly highlight one more point here, and that is, you see these markers here. This is nothing but a cup and handle pattern that you see in technical analysis. It's a thing, and what that means is the expectation is the size of the cup at the bottom should meet the size of the cup at the top. So what I mean by that is, let me change my tool here. What I mean by that is this height of let's see, what is this height here? Let me take this out a little bit. Yeah, so that's 280% from the 2022 November low. That was the closest low in November 2022, so exactly 2 years ago, which was $15,000, believe it or not. And then it went up to all the way to $60,000. That is the size of the cup. So what I'm expecting is the price from 60,000 to do another same size at the cup below, which comes out as $105,535, as you can see on my screen here, right? Again, this is just the way those, big traders look at charts and, trade. And based on this historical patterns, is what drives their trading decisions. I'm not saying they might be still trading it like this today, but most of the traders do that, that I speak with. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about October and November. October and November. Yeah. So October is where we really saw the breakout candle. Excuse me. And what I'm talking about here is this breakout. So the price was reaching this level, which is around 69,000, which was the previous all-time high. And there was a lot of sellers over here because everybody who bought in this zone will be looking to, sell some at the previous all-time high level to, lock in some gains, especially the ETFs, and the retail traders as well. So that was expected. So this is very, very common pattern. This is very, very common investor trader behavior. Now, going forward, my understanding is if I look at the price and the candle and I purely go on the technical analysis, what this tells me is, as I was saying earlier, 105 and 100,000. There's two confluences, 2 points where I am expecting a lot of sellers. Number one, as I shared, 100,000 is a psychological resistance. A lot of people would want to sell and in cash and block in those some profits. Number two is the cup and handle pattern that I was showing you, that the deeper the cup, the higher the price above the cup, or same sort of depth should be above the cup as well. So that's why, and they both come around 100,000, which is 105. So I'm just super simplifying it to 100,000. So 100,000, I think it would be healthy for the Bitcoin price to spend some time at this level. What I mean by that is, so let's say in November we close around 93,000, just assuming that, right, by the end of November. Then in December, because of the Christmas hype and people are generally in the festive season, so I would expect the price to cross 100,000 or at least touch 100,000. Then I'm expecting a sell-off. Now, how deep that sell-off is your guess is as good as mine. But based on chart patterns, I would expect the price to come down to 73,000. Yes, believe it or not, I'm expecting the price to come down to 73,000 at least once to retest it before it continues its journey upwards. So this price action of Bitcoin, what's happening is very similar to what happened in 2021, 2022, and then before that in 2017, 2018, and then before that 2014, and so on. So it's very, very similar. So we are actually just at the start of the bull rally, I would say, the bull cycle. And normally those bull cycles or the rally goes up to at least 300 days. That's what I have seen on the charts. Maybe that would, that would be another video or another episode for that, just that analysis. But as of today, this is where it stands. I'm expecting the price in December, or it could be January, that the price touches 100,000. There's a bit of a sell-off. It comes down to retest the 73,000 level. And then, of course, because this was resistance, and resistance becomes support. So I'm expecting the price to kind of do something similar to this, go in a range for a bit, and then, after a while, break that range and then move its journey upwards. Now, the timing is the most difficult part of this to predict. Nobody can predict this because, nobody has a crystal ball. But generally speaking, this pattern or this move or this action of price for Bitcoin would be a very healthy way, knowing that there are still buyers in this price range, which is between 100,000 and 70,000. Okay, so Definitely, if the price comes down to 73, I can easily share. I will be buying for sure. Again, this is not, trading advice. I'm not selling any signals. These are not, financial advice. Please do your own research and, spend your own money before you, do your own research. Before you spend your money, do your own research. And yeah, definitely this would be very healthy price action from Bitcoin. So for next week, to look at the price for next week, what the price did or can do next week. Let's go down to the weekly chart. So now this is the weekly chart. As you can see, those lines really aligning really well at that 73,500 level. So last week was a bullish week. The week before was a bullish week. Can we identify any patterns? Not really. The only pattern or the only trend I see is a bullish trend where the price is keeps going up. However, there is one small concern that I have for the price next week, because on Friday, our friends in the US, so Papa Powell or Jerome Powell, said something which made the S&P and Nasdaq crash a little bit. They both went down by over 1%. So that could have an impact on the Bitcoin price as well going into next week. So the way the weekly chart is, it looks very, very bullish. Now, again, as I was saying for the future price, the price next week is could be that there could be a red candle that forms here, or it could go down to 73,000 because that's the level that's not been tested yet. And then following retest of 73,500, price could move upwards, and that would be very, very healthy, by the way. So I would not be scared. The only time I'll get scared is if the price goes below, I would say, this candle here. So let's mark this level, which is 48,000. I mean, if the price goes down to that level, that means there's something fundamentally wrong, and that means price can spend more time over here. But let's not talk about that scenario. It is a possibility, but a very less likely scenario. Okay, so for the week, what am I expecting? Because the momentum is very, very strong for the buyers, and the bullish momentum is very strong. We could get another green candle for all we know. Again, nobody knows for sure, but the point is, we can look at different scenarios. So one scenario could be, let me see if I can draw a green candle for you guys here. So it could be that just how we saw two green candles, we could see a nice green candle here as well, touching the 100,000 price point that we were talking about, right? That's scenario number one. Okay. It could be that the price comes down to the 85,000 price level before it goes up. But again, I'm expecting it to be another green candle for the week by the end of next week. That's my expectation. Now, let's see what happens if there is a scenario where it creates a red candle. If it is going to create a red candle, the price should not cross this week's high. What is this week's high? This week's high is 93,265 on this chart, which is a Binance Bitcoin USDT chart. $93,265 dollars and 64 cents. It should not be crossing that. If it does cross that, it means there is more probability that the price is going to go up. But if there are more sellers in the market, which I would anticipate at 100K level, not at this level, which is why I'm saying that it's going to be mostly green, not red candle. But if there is a red candle, I would expect the price to be respected would be this week's low or last week's low, which is 80,360. Again, this price has also not been retested, so it could be that the price comes down before it goes up. So I am bullish, but I'm cautiously bullish for the next few weeks, simply because usually price ping pongs. Price goes in a range and then it goes up. So it creates a range and then it goes up. It just means that people are accumulating, people are selling, people are accumulating, and then the price breaks out and we have a new high, right? But because last week and the week before we got new all-time highs, I'm expecting this week to be a little bit slower than the last 2 weeks. And I'll tell you why I think that. So for that, let's go down to the daily chart. So if you look at the daily chart, let me zoom this in a little bit. Okay. So that's the daily chart, right? You know that long wick you saw on the weekly? That's coming from this candle and this candle, right? So you can see there is selling happening at this level. That, oops, 1 second. Yeah. So that all of that is nothing but selling signal. Like people are selling at this level. Every time the price is going above 90K, sellers are jumping in and they're selling. So that's why I'm saying, again, there's nothing unhealthy about this. It's very, very healthy. So if I have to draw the range, which is over here, as you can see, between 86,000 and 93,000. So if, as long as the price is in this range and it continues to be, and it might be that all of next week could be a bit of a slow week or frustrating one for traders, is it does not cross below 86,000 and it doesn't go above 93,000. That will still be a very healthy sign. Why? If it's not selling, which means there are people who are still buying up there. If it's not going up, which means there are sellers who are selling here. At some point, either the buyers will vanish or the sellers will vanish. In my view, I think the sellers will vanish. And what happens is when sellers start going down, there are still buyers. That is only going to push the price up, up, and up. Okay, so this is a very simplified version of what I think the week could look like. Again, it is last week was a bit of a rangy week, and I'm expecting the same because the last few weeks have been really, really nice. You can see here all these big fat green candles, lots of money pumping in to Bitcoin, which is why the Bitcoin price is making new all-time highs. So unless there's there's no bad news, I don't think the market is going to go down. I still think the market is in a bull rally. It's a bull trend. I think the price will go up. 100K, it could be, like I said, your guess is good as mine. It could be next week. It could be tomorrow. It could be not until January. So we have to wait and watch. And that's it for today, Varun. I hope it was interesting. Over to you.
Thank you so much, AJ. This was very interesting and very, I would say, informative. Fundamentally, I also tend to agree because, see, President Trump had to be, he had to mention that they'll be buying Bitcoin as part of the strategic reserve asset to be able to be elected as the president for the USA. Uh, so what is happening now that a lot of countries are going to take advantage of this and they're going to be adding Bitcoin as part of their strategic reserve asset and be ahead of the curve, right? And this is what is happening. If you ask me, Qatar, UAE, and there is a Bitcoin conference happening on December 9th and 10th in Abu Dhabi. So I feel that there is some news where they are basically looking to pump $500 billion into Bitcoin. And we know that Trump is going to take office in Jan 2025. So I tend to agree that yes, Bitcoin will cross six figures and we'll be seeing new all-time highs. But as AJ said, in every bull market, 30% correction is very healthy and it's very normal looking at the past data. So if you see a 30% correction coming in, we are still in the middle of a bull market. So that's there. And before we let you go, uh, the best way to invest is dollar cost averaging so that you are not timing the market. And people like us, we can't time the market. We can only spend time in the market. So this is it for today, and we will see you very soon and coming up with different innovative topics. Till then, have a great week. Keep stacking those sats. Be humble.